good. I think we're done. This isn't more. This is our new spoiler. All right. Welcome back to the channel. Todd and Dan here at More Smart Racing, and today we are going to make a Lexan extension for our spoiler. So this spoiler is from 101 Aero Blur. I mean, just a basic, it has this retractable thing here that is cool. We figured we would add a little more height to this with some Lexan just to maybe get us some more downforce.
Yeah, we learned some lessons at Nationals last year that while we didn't think it would make a big difference, it does actually make a big difference. It helps rear grip a lot on higher speed turns at autocross, and the higher speed's relative. I'm thinking between 30 and 40 miles an hour, it can actually make a big impact. We saw it, especially on the big course at Nationals. It may not do so much for us at our regional events because we're a pretty tight, small track, but it's going to be, hopefully it's going to be something we can, add a little more downforce in the rear end. That would be good.
Yeah, and I think Dan has joked in the past that we're typically 3 or 4 years behind the actual competition as far as upgrades go.
Yeah.
And SCCA just made a change this year to allow cars in our class to have large splitters.
Wings.
Wings, thank you. So a lot of people that we will be competing against will be moving to wings,
and we're just now getting 2 taller Lexan spoilers, which has been a thing in autocross for a while. But
yeah, but
hey,
we'll take it. So I'll show you we kind of mocked up a piece of cardboard to do a general idea of kind of what we're looking for. And I think this is about the right height, give or take. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna mount a piece of cardboard up here and maybe just trace out what we want the Lexan to look like. That'll give us a blueprint to cut the Lexan, throw it up here. Hopefully this project is fairly straightforward. We'll likely need to get some additional rods to attach the new Lexan to
higher up.
Yeah, higher up on the Lexan to the deck lid of the trunk to support the extra downforce. So that'll be one thing that we will need to do that we don't have yet, but all in all should be fairly straightforward, so we'll get started.
Okay, so we're working on making our template. We took this off the car and we just laid it down on this cardboard. Just traced the bottom line so we can get that curvature. So when we cut our piece that it doesn't hang below the spoiler. Then we decided, or we Googled, what are people using for wicker bills at autocross? And it said between 15 and
17, I think, is what I saw on some forums.
Who knows? There's no science to that. I'm sure it's just people saying, well, mine's bigger.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and went to 15 because 17 felt egregious. So what I did is I took a tape measure and I put 15 on the bottom line at various points across the spoiler and made a little mark all the way across, and it made an arc of marks. Then I just slid the bottom up and used the bottom again as the same arc because it roughly matches the top side. There's some angular features on the top side, but we're not going to get that fancy with it. We're just going to do 2 arcs. And then on the sides, to connect our 2 lines, our top and bottom lines, we aren't really sure what we want just yet. We made it as simple as we can right now, and then we can kind of angle them in if we want to make a little bit more, follow the outside edges of the spoiler, but we're just not super sure right now. So we'll start wider and we can trim it off as we go. Now we're gonna cut this out.
It's too tall. A bit aggressive, one would say.
This is, we're at 15 inches.
Yeah.
So I think it's too much. Todd walked around and couldn't find a good angle of it, so it means it's not good.
Yeah, so from the front, you can tell it's pretty aggressive. It looks just as aggressive from the back. So I think we found a good way to cut off some material.
So I think we're just gonna put this up here.
Yeah.
And just redraw our line or something.
Yeah. TBD. We'll show you how it looks.
It's better.
Yeah. How much did we cut off? 3 inches? We cut off that much. And Dane had a good idea to kind of mimic the bottom there. So you can tell we curved down to give the edges a little more curve, which was a huge help, I think.
A little bit of flavor went a long way on that.
Yeah. We both agreed this looks good. So Dane already drilled pilot holes to transfer on to the actual Lexan, and I think we're good to trace it on a Lexan and cut it whenever we get to that point. So solid work. Yeah, I like it.
All right, we pulled the template back off the car and set it down on our piece of Lexan. And we took a Sharpie and traced, pretty simple. We also marked the holes. So that's what our wing will look like. Now we're gonna get some jigsaw blades that are made for plexiglass and cut it out. We try to keep the edge looking as good as we can, but there's no guarantee. So we'll just have to massage it when it's all said and done if we have to. Okay, we got the new extension, wing extension or spoiler extension cut, and now I'm fitting it up to the car. Probably gonna have to massage the sides a little bit. They're a little rough right here. The top looks okay. So I got the spoiler back on the car. Now I'm just gonna drill the holes so I can start mounting the extension directly to the spoiler. But this is pretty much what it looks like. We like it. Definitely looks like we did it at our house, so we're not gonna fool anybody with that, but it looks good. So we'll get to work on this and show you the finished result. Okay, now we're gonna add some support rods to this up here on the extension. So I've drilled 2 holes and I have access to the back side of the trunk right here so I can get a bolt through there. And then they'll come up here and hold up in here somewhere. We'll do one that way and then one towards the center, and we'll do the opposite, or do the same thing on the other side of the third brake light, just to give it a little bit more rigidity. So that's what we're doing now. Got to determine where I want these things to go. Okay, here is one side of the support rod's done. Try to make it look as professional as I can, but you know, it's okay. So now we're gonna go on to the next side.
All right, so as you can see, we have the Lexan back from our main shop. You saw the process of us kind of cutting it. And then we bought the 4 rods. We had to wait a couple days for them to come in from Longacre. And then Dan brought it back to finish up the mounting process.
Yeah, there's a video clip that you probably have already watched where you can see me lay some tape on the trunk and lay out where I wanted to drill the mounting holes for those. We also picked up these, I forget what they're called. There's some kind of countersunk washer. They look really, really good on the front side here. It's a nice clean look, better than just some regular washers. So that helps, and it also matches, you know, the style of washers that came with the original spoiler. So I think we're both pleased with this. It went really well. You know, the edge could look a little better, but we're not professionals, as you guys
Race car.
know by now. So
Yeah.
but we like it.
Yeah. So I mean, marking one thing off the list. So this was I mean, knock on wood, one of the easier builds we've had so far on the long list we have behind us. But turned out well, fairly straightforward. We were a little concerned at first the thickness of this Lexan would be too much, but I think this curvature is just shallow enough to kind of help it sit.
Yeah, and it has its own strength because of how thick it is, which
Right.
is good. So
Yeah.
the rods in the back help to keep it from overextending if we get a bunch of load on this. But we're gonna find out for sure what it does at the first event.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So, yeah, no. So that's it. So, thank you guys for watching this video. I'm sure we'll be pumping out more content soon, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.